If you struggle with makeup that disappears by midday, I have some solutions for you. I've been testing out some products that pass the test and some makeup hacks that actually work. And today, I'm going to share them with you. And a huge thanks to Wonderskin for sponsoring this video. I have been using their brow stains and their lip stains, and let me tell you, they do not budge. Let's get right into it. All right, this first hack may be a little overkill, but I recently saw this on a YouTube video for long-lasting base makeup, and let me just tell you, it really does work. Now, instead of using a primer before I put on my foundation, I'm gonna actually be using a setting spray, but not just one setting spray. I'm gonna be using 2 setting sprays. All right, I'm gonna start off with the Gibson Girl Finishing Mist, and I'm gonna spray my entire face, and I am not going to be shy. That is the first coat. Now we are going to go in with the One Size Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray, and also, we're not gonna be shy. I know what you're thinking. Is that really necessary? But the girl who did the video that I watched, she did it, and I trusted her. And let me tell you, when I do this little technique, my makeup, it does not budge. Now we're gonna get right into my base makeup. And right now, what I'm loving for my long wear foundation is the Nars. This is their light reflecting foundation. And this is shade Santa Fe. I like to apply my foundation with a kabuki brush. This is the IT Cosmetics Airbrush Kabuki brush. Covers a lot of ground, and it's so soft. And this foundation is just, it's really lightweight, and for me, it has the perfect coverage. And this foundation brush, it just does the perfect job of blending in your foundation without having any like brush strokes or anything. And it saves you a lot of time. All right, so for my forehead, I'm actually gonna blend my Nars with a darker foundation. This is the Gibson Girl BB cream, and this is light medium. This would be too dark for my entire face, and as you can see, the difference in the colors. But I'm going to blend them together and use it almost as I would a bronzer. You know, a little bit darker on the forehead is okay, because that's where the sun would naturally hit. Then I kind of drag it around to the perimeter of my face as well. And you can use whatever foundations you have. I like to mix it with a BB cream, something a little bit lighter weight on my forehead, because my forehead tends to get a little bit more dry than the rest of my face. So that is what I like to do. And I do coat under my eyes, and I do get my eyelids. All right, next we're gonna use a brow stain, and I had never heard of a brow stain until Wonderskin sent me this one. This is shade Blonde, and they call it their Wonder Blading Brow Stain, and I've been using this for the last month, and when I do use it, I absolutely love the way it makes my brows look. I have a brow tattoo on, so I like a more filled in look, but my brow tattoo is fading, and my brow tattoo is a lot cooler than I would like. So this just gives it a like nice warmth to it and gives it depth. And I don't really have a ton of eyebrows, so it is really nice to actually have something on my eyebrows to make them look like I have real eyebrows. So I have found a certain way to apply it that works best for me. So if you're new to this, I would definitely take notes, because I've tried it a couple different ways, and I feel like this is the easiest way to apply it. It comes with a little applicator, which is easy to use. And I'm gonna get a couple Q-tips out. Definitely have some Q-tips on hand. I usually go through a few Q-tips, and I usually use the ones with the pointed ends. All right, so this is how I do it. I like to have like a resting bitch face, or kind of just like a sleepy eye look. Don't raise your eyebrows. I've found with applying any eyebrow product, it works better, because if I raise it, I feel like I'm doing that, and I end up with like an arch, and I want to accentuate the shape that I have and not McDonald's arch. All right, so this is what I do. I kind of start with adding just a little bit of product. Now you can overline your brows if you really want, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna try to hit the outside, or the the inside, I guess, of the top. And I apply a little bit of product and then I go back in with a Q-tip. And I kind of use this to spread it around. And this kind of ensures that I'm not getting too much product. And then I begin to shape them how I want them. I like to over accentuate my arch just a bit. And now I'm kind of running out of product, so I'm gonna go back in and add just a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna do one brow at a time, and then you can see the difference between the two, but also too, to begin with, they say to use, let it sit for 1 minute. And I've done both. I've let it sit for 1 minute. I've tested 2 minutes out, and the 1 minute is nice because it gives it like a nice light stain. And I just bought this cool little timer. Oh, I'm still trying to figure out how to use it. Okay, so that's 1 minute. Yeah, shoot, 1 minute. I don't know if I'm gonna use that for the future. It's a little ridiculous. And while the 1 minute is going, I'm going to just kind of tweak it. When I have my timer on, I might even go back in. Now, to set the timer before or after you're completely done with it, that's up to you. Like if you're like going in like what I'm doing and kind of perfecting it. But if you're doing it for the very first time, you know, err on the side of caution. I would say that with anything. And another tip, just know anywhere you're getting it on your skin, it's gonna stain it because it is a brow stain. So like if, you know, you don't want it in a certain area, just be very careful where you're applying it. But also too, you can wash it right off. So you're not gonna be stuck with like groucho eyebrows if the first time you use it, you go a little overboard. So don't worry, it does wash off. I'm not really sure, this is not working. I don't know how long I've had it, but I know it's probably been a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it off, and I'm gonna get myself a freaking timer that's not so stupid next time. But now I'm gonna use a little damp cloth, and I'm gonna stick my little finger in there, my fingertip, and just wipe it off. And you know, you're gonna get a little bit of your foundation off, so that's, you know, just know you're gonna have to touch that up. All right, so that was with 1 minute. And I'm gonna do it again, just because I want you to see what another application does, because for me, that's fine. But if you are curious to see what 2 minutes looks like, I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. Now that I think about it, maybe it didn't even sit for a full minute, so I really wanna make sure that we get the full benefits of leaving this on the right way. And this time I'll use my phone. Now you could see why you probably wouldn't do this every day unless you're like a brow fanatic and you're used to spending a ton of time on your brows. But if you're in a hurry, you can see how it would be a little bit difficult to have this as your daily eyebrow. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and actually let it sit for a full minute because like I said, I'm not really sure that happened the first time. All right, it's been on 1 minute. I'll go ahead and take it off. Yeah, I don't think I let it sit for a full minute the last time. So this time it actually got a little more of what I used to seeing it look like. All right, so that is the before and after. And I don't scrub it off or anything like that. I just wipe it off. All right, so let's go ahead and do the other one. And it does make a difference to the amount you saturate it. Like if I were to go back in and do another coat while it's sitting, you know, you're gonna get more stain. But like I said, first few times until you know what you're doing or how it works for you, then I would just, you know, do lighter coats. Another tip when it comes to brow stains or any brow products at all, always go down a shade that you think. So if you're blonde, go with like light blonde. If you're light brown hair, then go with blonde. If you're dark brown hair, go with light brown. Because for whatever reason, they're always darker than you think. So this is blonde. I would definitely, if you are somebody who is light brown or medium brown, to still go with blonde, because just leave it on a little bit longer versus going with the color that you think and it being too dark and then you hate it. All right, 1 minute, a little bit over actually. I'm not scared of it, so I'm not like rushing to take it off like I was in the beginning or like in the first few times I used it, because it's not that big of a deal. They don't get too dark. I have left them on a few minutes where I've thought that they were a little too dark, but I mean, you really have to leave it on like 2-3 minutes or whatever. And usually I do one, I do the other, and then I go back and wipe off the other. But if you really want to be careful and cautious, just do one at a time. And then I usually take a little, I guess they call this a cat tongue concealer brush, and go back in with just a little bit of foundation that you used and clean it up. You know, it does take require a little bit of patience. So if you're not a patient person, that might not be for you. But if you're somebody who needs that little extra coverage, it's a good product. You just got to figure out how to use it the right way. All right, now you can do other things and add like hair strokes and other brow products, but when I use the brow stain, I don't use any other brow products, but I do use a brow gel, brow glue, and you got to be careful with this too. But let me just tell you, this e.l.f. brow laminating gel is amazing. You just have to use it right. If you use too much, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate me. But it's the one that I found out of, I mean, I've tried so many. I've tried this one that people love. I've tried this one that's supposed to have good reviews, the L'Oreal. And then I tried the Kosas one because it was alcohol free. You might as well be putting freaking water on your brows at that point. And this one works the best, but you just have to be very light-handed with it. So I'm going to go backwards, apply it backwards, and then just a tiny bit. And then I'm gonna go in with an empty spoolie and comb them back. But for me, I just want these little hairs on the sides to stay down. But, you know, just a little bit, just a touch. And those guys will stay down. To be fair, I warned you, if you use too much, it'll get crusty and gross and you'll have to start over. So just a little bit. Sometimes I just gotta push these down to get them to stay instead of adding too much and adding more. All right, there's the brows. They ain't going anywhere. And if you already learned something, hit that like button because it really does help support my channel. All right, next long wear product that does not budge. This is the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, and we are going to apply this. It's actually an eyeshadow. We're going to apply it on our lower lid, but it also works amazing as a primer. So we're gonna just go ahead and dip in here. I like to use my fingers, but to be honest, my fingers are just too big for this little space. So I'm gonna start off applying just a little bit with this brush and kind of use a brush and my fingers to get it in. And I also like Painterly. Those are my go-to. This one I like to use when I'm going for a more neutral look, but just this alone by itself is really pretty. This next hack is using your blush or bronzer as an eyeshadow. And I love to use this as an eyeshadow, a bronzer, and a blush all in one. I'm going to start off by applying it to my cheeks first. This is the RMS Maiden's blush, and it is such a pretty color for a blush and a bronzer. Call it a blonzer if you like. I definitely think it has the properties of a blonzer. All right, so this is how I like to use it for eyeshadow, is like a nice little fluffy brush, and I take it and I use it up to highlight my brow bone, I guess. And it's not really my brow bone, it's right below it. You can use bronzer for this as well. The pigment is just so much more finely milled than some eyeshadows, and I feel like it just sits on your skin better. And then you can drag it down here for some color as well. And like little rainbow sweeping motions. This is like a really nice natural eye look. because you have the MAC paint pot underneath, it will last all day. I get so many compliments. People are like, what are you wearing for your eyeshadow? And I'm like, it's not eyeshadow, it's blush. And I have 4 of RMS's blush. This is their Hydro Dimension. And they just came out with some bronzers. I need to get my hands on some. I just love this color so much. I can't imagine loving another color as much as I love this one. And I hit my forehead a little bit. These days I'm not really wearing a ton of bronzer. I like the way that the foundation gives me more of a glow on my forehead. I feel like you start applying too much powders on your forehead at my age, it starts to look dusty and it just doesn't sit on your skin very well. So next I'm gonna top off my lower lid with this beautiful, gorgeous eyeshadow stick. This is by Wonderskin and this is shade Champagne. And it does have, I'm gonna show you, it does have some, I don't know, glitter, it's not glitter, it's shimmer, I guess. But it is, because it's a cream, it doesn't make your eyes look crepey. But even so, I still just use it only on my lower lid. And it just adds a little pizzazz. And a little pro tip with any eyeshadow sticks, no matter who it's by, it's best to have some sort of primer on your lid. Otherwise, I don't think they last as long. Even though I've never tried it with this one, I do it anyways. But look how pretty that is. It's just such a tiny amount. Just adds a little, I don't know, glow. It's so pretty. Okay, so next hack. This little hack is meant to make your eyes look bigger. So if you struggle with that, pay attention. This is actually also by Wonderskin. This is their eyeshadow stick, and I'm not using it like an eyeshadow stick would normally be used. We are using it as a adding dimension. And it's not a drop shadow either, because a drop shadow, usually people think about it as in your lash line. So we're gonna apply this below our lash line. And I'm using a fluffy brush. And I'm just adding a shadow to create a little depth. I know you're thinking like, what the heck? But I'm telling you, it makes your eyes appear bigger. And this is the Sephora brush, the Sephora Pro, and I really like the brushes. This is number 18. Be very light-handed when you try something like this, and I like the cream. You can do it with a powder as well. Just make sure your under eyes are very hydrated. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera how that does make my eyes look bigger, but maybe when the look is all finished. But I'm telling you, when I do this and I catch myself in the mirror and my eyes, I'm like, wow, my eyes look bigger. And it's this little hack, this little tiny hack. It really does work. And like I said, that was shade Mink. And they just came out with some really pretty ones that are similar to the Champagne that are pink and peachy, and I can't wait to get my hands on some of those. All right, next we're gonna do some eyeliner in our upper lash line for definition. And because this is a stay all day look, we're gonna use waterproof. And this is the Gibson Girl Waterproof in dark chocolate. And I like to just gently lift up my eyelid and wiggle it in my lash line. And it's sensitive skin approved, so if you do get it in your lash line or in your waterline, it's fine. It's fine. It won't cause your eyes to water. Take it from me, I have extremely sensitive eyes. Now if it transfers anywhere before it sets, just kind of get it up in there. And sometimes I will drag it all the way to the inner corner, but today we're just gonna do a kind of a halfie. It's really easy to work with, and I love the fact that it's mechanical. You don't have to worry about sharpening it. It's a pain in the butt. Since this is a last all day makeup, I'll add more layers. Okay, I'm happy with the way that looks. And of course, everything I'm using today, I will put in the description below if you're interested in purchasing it. And if you use any of my links, some of them are affiliates and it does help support my channel if you use them. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and put on my mascara before some of the other fun things I have for you. And I was trying to figure out what is my favorite long wearing mascara. And I'm gonna go with just a good old faithful. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. It's just kind of like a good old favorite, easy to apply, very lightweight. Doesn't weigh your lashes down. And it lasts, it doesn't transfer. All right, there's our lashes. All right, a hack to keep your eyelashes from falling before they dry, set them with a little fan and blow up. Also in the past, I've used an eyelash comb to kind of keep them up. It works, I promise. I've even done this with my blow dryer. All right, our next budge-proof product, this is by Wonderskin. This is their Wonder Blading Lip Mask. And they have so many freaking colors to choose from. And this was my favorite. This is just like the prettiest like petal pink. And they also have which you've probably seen, they're a pretty viral product. It's where the lip mask or the lip stain where you put it on and then you like peel it off. This is not that. This is a little different. All right, now before we start this, a little pro tip, and this goes for any long wearing lip stains or like matte lipsticks or anything. Always make sure that you apply a lip scrub and always make sure you have very hydrated lips because it goes on a lot more even and it lasts way longer. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove any moisture from my lips right now because we want them to be moisturized, but we don't want them to be too moisturized where the product doesn't sit. All right, so this is unique. It goes on blue, so don't be frightened. And I've applied this in many different ways and I found the best way that works for me and I will share that tip with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it. And of course with any stain, wherever you apply it, it's gonna stain. So if you wanna overline your lips, but do be careful. You don't want it to go crazy and go too out of your lines. So what I do with this is I do a light coat first. All right, so I applied a light coat first, and I've noticed with some of the other darker colors, it applies a little thicker, but with this lighter color, I apply it, I kind of let it dry just a little bit, and then I go back in with another coat. At least just what I do, because I like to have a little bit more pigment. And I feel like it, you know, it's gonna be a little more even that way. And I don't think it really matters how long you leave it on. I think they recommend 1 minute. All right, so now that I got it nice and even everywhere, I know I look ridiculous. I'm gonna set my timer. We're actually gonna do 2 minutes just because we really want it to last. I feel like I'm an overachiever, always. All right. Now while that's doing that, we can either just let it sit or I can move on, but we're just gonna let it sit. Now you can use a damp paper towel. I prefer to use a damp cloth that has a little bit of texture to it because I feel like it helps it come off a little faster versus like having to use the paper towel 5,000 times. All right, that is such a pretty little pink, and since I left it on a little bit longer, I can tell it has a little bit more pigment than when I only leave it on like 1 minute. And I'm just gonna use my leftover kabuki brush and kind of help blend in the rest of my foundation. All right, look how pretty that is. And you could leave it just like that, but I'm gonna use a lip liner to define my lips. And it's also gonna help with longevity. And this is the Wonderskin in Rosewood. It is very pretty and it complements this shade really well. And I'm not even sure I mentioned the shade. This is XOXO. Sorry. I am a lip liner girly. I can't leave the house without it. They also have another lip liner called Saddle, which is quickly becoming one of my favorites. And I did a best nude lip liners. If you want to go back and watch that video, that one is on there as well. Always a little overline. Look how pretty that is. Do you love it? Do you love it? Do you love it or do you love it? All right, we have another makeup hack. This is a concealer makeup hack. And I love using two separate concealers, two different shades of concealers. You always want to make sure your under eyes are super moisturized, and mine are, but I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. This is the Kiehl's Super Multi-Corrective Eye Zone Treatment that I've been testing out recently, and I'm really liking it. I don't want to do too much either. I don't want it to slip off. So I'm just adding a little bit because I already have some underneath my makeup. All right, so we're going to use this Haus concealer, this Haus Labs concealer, and this is light peach. So the peach, it's not a color corrector, but because it is a peach undertone, it's going to cancel out any dark circles. And we're going to be very sparing with this. I'm rubbing it into the back of my hand and really getting it warm. And I'm going to just kind of apply it under my eyes sparingly. Let's go ahead and do both sides. Now, if you're somebody with dark circles, peach is a really good undertone to have. But if you're like me and you want a brighter under eye, you kind of need both if you want to cover your circles. So we're going in with a peachy undertone. This is covering our circles. I know I repeated myself, but I really just wanted to make sure you knew what I was talking about and why I was doing it, just in case. Plus, I took some Sudafed this morning because I have some sinus infection and I feel like it's making me really loopy, so. All right, using my beauty blender to get it into the skin. And I did not disrupt my it's not a drop shadow, but I did not disturb my dimension that I created to make my eyes look bigger. All right, so that is the first step of the hack. Now, if you want to have a brighter under eye, you're gonna wanna go in with something really light, not really light, but lighter and cooler. And we're gonna use the Nars. This has quickly also become one of my favorite concealers. This is shade Madeline, light 2.3. Now, what I'm gonna do is take it right here and here. And since I do have some sinus issues going on, I'm gonna actually add a little bit more down there. And just kidding, up here. Okay, now this one is a little bit runnier than the Haus Labs. So I'm gonna let it sit. I will start to work it into the skin. So, I mean, this isn't really a hack. I guess it's a hack. It's a tip. You know, if you really want your concealer to have more coverage, you're gonna want to let it sit, let it get tacky, and be patient and work it in, preferably with your fingers and a beauty blender. When I use a brush, it's fine and it works just fine, but I feel like it kind of takes away the radiance and makes it look a little more matte. I mean, but if you have to, which I do too, still use it when I'm in a hurry. All right. And also too, I'm not bringing it up to where my drop shadow, I'm just gonna call it drop shadow. I'm not bringing it up there. It's gonna get up there inevitably anyways, which it did a little bit, so I'm gonna have to use a brush, just a little bit. Combination. Now on the eyes, you know, you wanna make sure that you're going up. It's gonna help with giving yourself an eye lift. And yes, I did. I see what you see. I got it under there a little bit. Let's take a little Q-tip. It's all about having your makeup last as long as possible. So these little tips, although they may take more time, they really work. They really do. You want to use the rest of the leftovers on your fingers around your nose. Helps get rid of any redness. Another little hack, take a Q-tip, pointed Q-tip, and take out any concealer that settled in these little fine lines. Not a ton today. I did a good job pressing it in. Gone are the days of setting your concealer with powder. That's a no-no. It's gonna make your under eyes look crepey and crevicey and dry and dusty, even with the lightest amount. All right, now that we did all that with our under eyes, we are going to touch up our blush, going upwards for a nice lifted look. All right, you thought we were done, but we are not. We have one more hack. The last hack, it's not really a hack because it's just a step, but because we already said it once in the beginning, actually twice in the beginning, that wasn't enough. To make your makeup last all day, we're gonna set it again. We're gonna use the one size one more time. Now let me tell you, your makeup will not go freaking anywhere. These makeup tips are perfect for an event, a wedding, girls' night out, all day in the humidity, or pretty much any time you do not want to have to worry about touching up your makeup. All right, you guys, that is a wrap. Let me know in the comments which one of these tips or hacks or products that you are most excited to try. And if you found this video helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend because it really does help support my channel. And do not forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.